Hey, in Mendham, I think we're getting somewhere. You've said now it's not that you're denying the will exists. You're just saying it's not free, and that's a lot closer to how I believe, because I do believe that the will as we understand it is is an error. It doesn't do what we think it does. I just say that it exists. Now, I think we're going to end up disagreeing still in the end, because I do believe there's an element of choice, and volition has to do with choice. I think there's room for that in the universe, and it's what I personally experience, and it's the way that I found it best, to live. But let me take a brief tangent. Okay, the tangent is this: I've been online debating philosophy and things. Well, always philosophy, but philosophy of everything, for 25 years. 25 years. It's a long time, huh? I have never, ever, that I remember, seen somebody that was a primary person taking part in an argument, or just taking part in an argument at all, vocally, out loud, change their opinion. I've never seen that. Now, the most I have seen is somebody admit, yeah, that you have a good point there, but I still believe what I believe because of this. I would have to be batshit insane to think that anybody was going to change their views online. And so I don't. To me, there's two things. And one of them is trying to understand other people's ideas. So we have a back and forth where I can see there's a conflict. It's not like as soon as I realize I'm not going to change your mind, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to have the conversation. I do, because I still want to figure out what you're possibly thinking. When I say you or anybody else is thinking something incomprehensible to me, it's not a secret way to like put your argument down. Though it may. I mean, because I'm not bad at comprehending stuff. It might be a bad sign if I can't comprehend what you're saying. But on the other hand, I don't comprehend things instantly. It takes a while. So when I say something's incomprehensible, I really mean that. It's like, help me sort this out. I want to understand other people's opinions. Got interrupted. Okay. So finding out your idea, that's one thing. And then also, I just think, online, it's important for me to have a place to put ideas out, first of all, so that I can just go through the process of trying to put words. Because when you try to do that, you find sometimes you have an idea you think is clear, and it's hard to put words to it. So that's the first part of the practice there. But the other part is that it is good to put it online and get feedback, have some people get feedback on your ideas, because then you can see what you might want to change in your thinking or your words or anything else. So that's where I think we've made progress. I mean, I understand a little bit more what you're saying, and I'm thinking you're saying that we can go ahead and live as though there's free will. We don't actually take it into account. Yeah, I don't know about that part. If that's what you're saying. I've just known too many people that take it easy out of, well, I had to, or I just can't help myself when, or screw that. People are responsible. I'm holding people responsible, whether we figure out if there's a will or not. Because my experience is going through the world, that makes sense. So, I mean, that's really the bottom line there for me, in terms of will, is the way I'm going to live as though there is will, power. Not totally free, but, making the choices at least at certain junctures, and also with the ability to, increase the number of times that you get to have willpower. In other words, it's not direct. I kind of agree that we're stimulus response, but I think the will can go over there and work on our mind. I think the will has the ability to program our minds. And so it is one of the things that can set up these domino pieces to fall over in what you're calling a deterministic way. It's not deterministic for me, because we do have an influence in the loop, in the iterations of trying to think things and get things done and change a behavior. The will is in that loop somewhere. That's what I'm getting at. Now, what is it really? Yeah, I don't believe there's an essence. I don't believe in that kind of thing. I'm not fond of Plato, and I don't believe that there's some pure essence that is will. I know that it reduces down to a neural network, and I'm fine with that. The essence is just a word and a concept. Essences don't exist. Things exist, as they are, as complexes, networks of particles or or neurons are pretty much always some sort of a connected system. So anyway, I do think we made a little bit of progress understanding just in this simple thing of you're not denying will, because that's good for me because it exists, and there's a lot of questions as to, what is the nature of will? How should we use our willpower? There's a lot of questions like that. But the denial that it exists bothers me, and also the idea that reducing something to its parts shows it doesn't exist. That I also don't really agree with, but partially because I've been through this process. I've seen that a lot of things that I thought existed as little kernel essences inside of something turns out to be, no, there is no kernel essence. It exists as a characteristic of whatever the distributed thing is. Not a little essence like we think of essences, but a whole complex thing that when you break it down, it's a lot like atomic chemistry. You break down the wood and find out, no, there's no wood molecule, but wood still exists. Wood is made out of many molecules. That's all. So it's something along those lines with will. It's definitely not the classical way, and there's definitely a lot more determinism in it than the classical, framing of will. But yeah, we'll probably still disagree in that. We do have choices in there, and they're not free choices, but they are choices. They're chances to be involved with this process that in a lot of ways is automatic, but we can be involved. We are the programmers,